Hi cousins, it's your girl Angela. So listen, tonight we're going to make us some homemade caramel icing on the stove top, and it's going to be really simple, really easy, and does not require a lot of ingredients. It just requires a lot of time and patience. The key factor here is that you do not want to cook it too long, or you also don't want to cook it too fast. The reason why is because if you do that, it'll turn into candy. It won't seem as though it's candy when you're making it on top of the stove because it's still liquid. But when you pour it over that cake and it hardens and you go to cut the cake, the icing will fall off. So you want to cook it on medium low. I have an electric stove, so we're just going to cook it on number 4, and we're just going to take our time until it's ready. And that's it. So let's get started. All right, let me first turn my stove on. I like to turn it up to like a 5.5 to get the stove kind of hot and the pan kind of hot. That way I can go ahead and melt my butter. So we're going to start off with 1 stick of butter, and it doesn't take long for my pan to get heated here. We have about 1.5 cups of milk, of whole milk. Okay, I have about 2 cups of granulated sugar. We probably won't need all that, but it just in case it's not as sweet as you would like it to be. Like I said, it probably won't require all that. Now the reason why you see me have 2 boxes of these is because it's just barely some in here. So I have another whole one just in case I need some. Alright, so let me step over here. You're also going to need a testing spoon. Make sure your kitchen is clean, your hands are clean, honey. And let's get started. Let me go over here and get us a testing spoon. I'm actually get 2. I'll be right back. Okay, so I got me 2 testing spoons, very clean. Got me a napkin to lay on top of them, so I'm going to fold my napkin in half and put it to the middle of the back of my stove. Let me show you how I do it. Okay, so here we go. Let Cousin Angie bring y'all down some, make sure you can see everything. And right now I'm just getting my pan hot. That's all I'm doing right now. And you see I'm also using a whisk so we don't scratch up our pans here. Okay, so I want to make sure I can get you guys over in this pot real good. So I'm trying to adjust this crazy camera here. I hope you guys can see me. So what we're going to do, I'm going to put this over here. It's barely some in here. So what we're going to do, we're just trying to get the pan nice and hot. We have us a whisk here. I don't know why I said a spatula. A whisk here. So we can whisk it together. So we're going to put our butter in there. It's just doing that because it's hot. Okay. Alright, so we're going to let that butter melt. Now once that butter melts, then I'm going to turn the stove down to a number 4. So I just like to get the pan nice and hot. Now you don't want the butter to be too hot, your pan to be too hot when you're making this, because you don't want your butter to burn. As you see, I'm using my whisk here, and I'm just lightly just moving it around the pan because I just want it to go ahead and melt. Alright, as soon as it melts, I'll turn the stove down. Right now it's actually, yeah, right about 5.5. I have an electric stove, so I'm going to turn it down to number 4 as soon as I get all of this butter melted. Okay, this is really simple and easy. Honey, it tastes so good too. Alright, we're just about there melting our butter. Hope you guys can see me really well. I'll readjust my camera. Maybe that'll do it. I hope this will do it. I want you all to see more of the product and not me. I don't think I got it. Alright. Alright, just about done here. I'm going to melt this, and then I'm going to readjust my camera stand so I can get much closer so you all can get over in this pan, or this pot should I say. Alright, got it right where I want it, so it's nice and melted. Alright, didn't take us long. So what I'm going to do is lay my whisk over here, my spoon holder. I'm going to set this away from the fire, and I'm going to come right back. Let me readjust. Okay, cousins, I had to readjust my camera stand, so this should do the trick. Okay, So since we have that butter nice and melted, you see I turned my stove down to number 4. So now what I want to do right now is I want to go ahead and let me do it this way. Let me add us a little bit of brown sugar. Now I'm going to hurry up and do this. So, and this is how much is left, less than half a bag. So there's less than half a bag there. So what I want to do is also add about half a cup of sugar to that. Half a cup of sugar. I had 2 cups of sugar in there. So now what we want to do, and just whisk. Take your time and just whisk. Alright, you want to make sure you have all that nice and melted nicely, should I say. You want to get all the granulated sugar crystals. You want to make sure they're nice and smooth. You don't have any granules in the bottom of the pan. Now you're not going to get it to go away just yet, but the key here is to just go ahead and whisk. Just take your time, don't rush, medium low on the stove. If you have a gas stove, you want to turn it down. I wouldn't say very low, but just medium low. You know, you don't want your fire up high. You really don't. You want to take your time and cook this. All right. All right. Now, we may not need a lot of milk because it really doesn't require that. The more milk you make, you start to turn it into a frosting. And we're not trying to make a frosting. We're trying to make an icing. You remember when Grandma used to get on top of the stove and make homemade chocolate and homemade caramel? Some people make their caramel using a can of evaporated milk or sweetened condensed milk. Well, I'm making it the way my late grandmother did it. And the only thing is I'm making it different than the way she did it and the way my mother did it. I'm making it different from the way they did it. Give me one moment. You stay in that pan. Let me get some scissors so I can open up that other pan of that other bag of light brown sugar. So I have my kitchen shears here just in case I need to get a little bit more brown sugar. Want to just keep whisking. So you have that 1 stick of salted butter in there, and you had less than half a bag of that light brown sugar. You don't want to use dark brown sugar because then your cake is going to be, it's like a darker brown. You don't want that. You don't want that. So just whisk. You see I haven't put anything in here but half a cup of white sugar, less than half a bag of light brown sugar, 1 stick of salted butter. That's all we've done thus far. Okay. So what I'm going to do at this point is come back over here and we'll probably add like a tablespoon of milk. Okay. And you just want to whisk. And like I said, if you have an electric stove, put it on number 4. If you have a gas stove, I would say, I don't know if your gas stove is numbered 1 through 7. Where's mine at? Mine is numbered 1 through 8, and then it has a high. So I guess the high would be 10. So if you have a gas stove and your stove is numbered, what I would suggest you do is put your stove on a number 4. Like I said, medium low. That's all you want to do. Okay. And that was about a tablespoon of milk. Like I said, my mom and also my late grandmother, my mother is still living, but my late grandmother, they cooked theirs differently. But like I said, you can use a can of sweetened condensed milk. You can use a can of evaporated milk. You can do it this way, and this is the way I prefer doing it. It's nice and sweet, smooth. Just taking your time. You see all I've used so far is a tablespoon of whole milk, 1 stick of butter, less than half a bag of brown sugar, a half a cup of white granulated sugar, and I'm just whisking. And to be honest, when you're whisking something, you usually feel the sugar in the bottom of the pan, the granulated sugar. You can feel it. I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything from the brown sugar as well either, because I'm just whisking and I'm just taking my time. Be sure to get along the side of the pot. You want all that sweetness to, come all together. You want it all to melt, okay? All right, so what I think I'm going to do here is add some more brown sugar. And it's bubbling. And as it's starting to bubble, it's getting hotter. The trick is to go ahead and keep whisking. Remember, you don't want it to harden. So I'm going to remove this off the stove. Remove that off the stove. And we're going to open up this box here. And Lord, these boxes are so... And this is a 16-ounce box. So it's about a 1-pound box. Now, when you open your brown sugar, most people go and put it in the refrigerator, and it's always hardened when you put it in the refrigerator. Never put your brown sugar or anything in the refrigerator because it gets hard. Just do like I do. Just cut it open. Get you a nice clean Ziploc freezer bag. And when you get that Ziploc freezer bag, what you want to do is, once you've used, I'll show you in just a second. Let me just get my brown sugar here. Oh, I don't want to use too much. Okay. So I'll show you what I mean by here. So I got the sugar that I wanted out of here, right? So then I take it and I fold it over, both ends, fold it over, and then I roll it down, get all the air I want out of it, just like that. Then I put it in a Ziploc bag, I put it back in here, and then I put it on top of my pantry stand. So I'm going to leave that there till I get me a Ziploc bag in just a little while. So you want to whisk. Just take your time, whisk. And at this time, we want to turn our stove down. So I'm going to turn my stove down to a number 2. Now I'm on low. I'm on low. So I'm going to turn it all the way down to low at this point. Okay? Because I want it to take its time and just cook. Now, because I've added some more brown sugar in here, we want to keep stirring until we got all the lumps out and all the granulated sugar has melted and it's nice and smooth, just as we did prior to adding this more sugar. All right. So, all right. We had 2 cups of sugar. So we got about 1.5 cups of sugar in here. So we did about 1.5 cups of sugar. And we're going to say the first bag of brown sugar we had was less than half a bag. So I just opened up this and it's about 1/4 of a bag. So I'll just say half of a bag of brown sugar, light brown sugar on a stick of butter. So let me see here. I'm going to add about another tablespoon of milk. Just like that. And it's just that simple, just that easy. It's all coming together. Like I said, be sure to get along the sides. And you just let this cook on low at this point. And I can tell you right now, I can still feel some more sugar in the bottom because I've just added the white sugar. You don't want to let it go and cook on its own. You want to get all that out of there. Don't rush the process. Just take your time so it can come out right. Alright, cousins, so I'm going to continue to whisk this, and when it's nice and smooth and all the granulated sugar has melted along the bottom and throughout the caramel icing, I will come back to you, okay? Be right back. Okay, cousins, so I just want to come back on and show you that we did use the 2 full cups of sugar, of white granulated sugar. So I did taste it with my other spoon. I noticed I needed a little bit more sugar, so I won't be adding any more sugar after this. My stove is still down on low. And so at this point, I just want to whisk and keep it nice and smooth. So far, I've used probably about 3 tablespoons of milk. This will be my 4th tablespoon of milk. I'm just going to pour a little bit. See that there? Just, you don't want to empty the whole cup over in there. Like I said, we're not trying to make frosting. We're trying to make the icing. Alright, so we're just going to let this cook down low. Scraping the sides of my pot. Getting all that nice brown sugar. Okay. Now I want to tell you another thing I did add too. I took a pinch of sea salt. Just a pinch, and sprinkle it in there. Okay? Just a pinch. You don't need nothing more than a pinch. Because the butter is already salted. So you don't want to overdo it. Alright? So we're going to let this finish cooking. I can feel the granulated white sugar. So what we need to do is just come on and let this cook. This usually takes about 10 to 15 minutes to make. You just got to give it time. Probably 20 minutes. 20 minutes at the most. Alright, Cousin Angie will be right back. Alright, cousins, so we're done with our homemade caramel icing. So what we did was, we used about half a bag of light brown sugar. We used a half a cup of whole milk. Now, I didn't have any half and half. If you have half and half, that's even better. But if you don't have half and half, use a half a cup of whole milk. Okay, so we've used a half a cup of whole milk, a half a bag of light brown sugar. We've used 2 cups of white granulated sugar, a pinch, and I mean like a pinch between your fingers, just a pinch of salt, okay? And honey, the prep time for this is about 2 or 3 minutes, but the cook time that I did it, I let mine cook down for like 30 minutes. Why? I want it nice and smooth. I want all that sugar, the white granulated sugar, I want all that melted, no granulated sugar in the bottom. I don't want to feel nothing. I don't want to taste nothing on my cake. I want to make sure the granulated sugar from the light brown sugar, I want to make sure it's nice and smooth as well. You see me just scraping the sugar as it hardens around the pan on the inside, because sugar does harden when you're making icing on top of the stove. So I'm just using my whisk. There it is around the side where I'm scraping, and I'm just putting it back into this mixed. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move you back over to the counter, and we're going to go to our next step. Okay, be right back. Share this video, leave me a thumbs up. Until the next time I bring another one of my Southern Comfort Dishes, Cousin Angie loves each and every one of you. And thank you for supporting me. And thank you for helping me to reach over 5,000 subscribers. See you soon.